Back again, lovers. Thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's episode of Ask Diva. You are listening to Sunday night's episode, but I am not in Colorado. I am doing the podcast out of North Texas tonight. So thanks everybody for taking a listen to this hot topic. He cheats, she cheats, everybody's gone back and forth. Eventually, an apology happens. So when the apology happens, what's next? What happens after I'm sorry? So we're going to talk about this exclusive hot topic. This has happened before. We're going to use some examples that you guys are probably familiar with. And we're going to quote from one of our favorite persons. You know, this is how this happens every time. So thanks everybody for being a part of the show tonight. All right, so I appreciate you greatly for being a part of the show. I am going to make sure that I go over and chat for a little bit with some individuals on Facebook and Twitter so that they can know to go ahead and tune in. We're going to also make sure that we get connected so that we have everything coming in clear. So do what we do. So how was your weekend? Definitely tell me about that. And you can join the show live now in about 2 seconds. If you are looking for the link, join live. Join live now on Facebook. You can also do the same, my lovers, on Twitter. So, shouts out for the platforms that are tuned in. So if you're listening from Spotify, we appreciate you. From Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, from Deezer, from Castbox, know that I appreciate your listen from either of those platforms. Also, I appreciate you tuning in. For anyone that is tuned in from, who did we not listen to? Oh, if you clicked on the Facebook link just now, that is up. And for anybody that clicked in from the Twitter, I think I've left somebody out. So wherever, maybe Castbox, Deezer, if I didn't say those, make sure that I did show them some love, as well as YouTube. Spreaker, you're the one that makes all of this happen. So a lot of love to you. So we are also going to invite the people on Twitter and Instagram. So give us just a moment. Hopefully the Instagram can post up. It's really hard to do that, but you may be listening from the show after it is no longer live if you're clicking on the Instagram, because I'm always going to make sure that I share it on the stories. So that's the hot topic tonight. So you guys can tune in, and anybody that wants to be a part of the conversation, you already know that you can click on the link and get that started, right? So he cheated on you. She cheated on you, and now we are to the next part of what happens. You know, the very first thing that's going to happen if two people care about each other, because we're not talking about the guy and the woman that we talked about a couple of weeks ago that's ghosting. The ghosting person doesn't come back and apologize to you. That's not going to happen. You already know that that's not going to be a part of the process because they're ghosting you. So as much as that hurts, you're never going to hear from them again. So we can get past that. That's not going to happen. But this couple, these group of people that we're talking to are the individuals that have something that's going to happen next. Now, you have the stone cold East Coast women, I like to call them. So the stone cold East Coast Detroit woman, the stone cold East Coast New York, or, you know, Jersey, anything like that, it's over, bruh. You've messed up. You can forget it. You already know it was hard to get her in the first place. She didn't smile at you when you asked her out on that first date. You already know how these things go when it comes to East Coast women. So you mess up, there's no forgiveness. It's not happening. They're on to the next one. The cities are too big. Why sit around and waste time with this individual when I can go ahead and find me something new? So they're probably not going to forgive you. But here in the South, you might get a little taste of forgiveness, right? So let's talk to the Texas and Alabama and Atlanta and Mississippi and Tennessee women, right? So you may get some forgiveness out of these ladies. So for all you cheaters, head on south. No, I'm joking. Please don't do that, because the women from the South are not going to put up with you. That's also why the majority of those women are on Snapped. So yeah, you got to pick your battles. Pick your battles. You want to die or you want to cheat? You have to decide what you want to do, right? Because you're not going to be able to have both when it comes to the Texas women, right? But no, all jokes aside, he cheats, she cheats, and there's always this first thing that's going to happen. It is usually going to be the apology. So I have searched high and low for numerous reasons. So when it has happened to you, when you've heard it happen to someone else, I've been a part of life coaching and relationship coaching for so long that there are stories after stories after stories. Men do it, women do it. I do not have any statistics from the situations that I've been a part of to say who does it more or who does it better. I think women cheat better, but there's no real numbers on that. So there's the debate on everyone trying to decide who cheats more. We really need to just end that because it's an unfair debate. And as far as Twitter, I'm not sure if I invited you guys or not, but I'm trying to. And if I didn't, then I'll make sure that the link goes up for you real quick. So let's get Honey to jump in. So Honey, can you go on and invite some folks to tune in from the Twitter feed? All right. So I'm telling him this, and I'm telling you what the text says. Sending him a kissy face. All right. So that's Team Diva right there. That's number one Team Diva right there. So now we're going to get hot into the topic. So I have to make sure that we give everyone an opportunity to tune in. So that people do not say, well, what? Wait, what's going on? Why wasn't I a part of the conversation? So, and then all of this, kind of delay while we try to get everybody on board and wait for everybody to come into the podcast. Who do you know that's been through this situation? So take your mind to that situation, whether it was you, whether it was your friend, whether it was a family member, whoever it is that's been through this situation. I want you to think from the perspective of that situation when I give you this just huge jewel, like huge nugget that was dropped, and it was dropped from an icon. And this is someone who has learned life's lessons in the hardest of ways. And so this jewel was dropped in the middle of an interview, and I thought, oh my God, that's it. Like the aha moment that Oprah would probably call it. Like that's the answer right there, right? And this individual, when I tell you, you definitely want to take this person's advice, right? Because where that person came from and what that interview was about and everything that had unfolded, oh my goodness, yeah. So you already know where we might be going with this, right? So, all right, so we sent the request out there. So let's go ahead and get started. Hot and ready for tonight's hot topic. So he cheated, she cheated. And there is a moment that's going to come after this situation for individuals that choose to be a part of each other's lives. It's the apology. It should be a part of the 12-step to hell program when you're dealing with cheating, right? So that's the new program, not the AAA. It's 12 steps to hell, because that's what you're about to go through when that bombshell hits you. If you are personal like that, like if you just a type of person where that was your one and only, that is your all, and you've been loyal. If you've been cheating too, it's not going to hit you that hard, because you're just going to be like, karma got a friend named Dharma, like Cardi B would say. Like, I mean, you're getting your karma. You've been cheating, he gonna cheat. Like, I mean, I just don't understand why you would even be offended by that. So you probably are not going to be as heartbroken. So we are talking to you. So if you lay low, spread it wide everywhere, and then your man cheats, I'm going to sit you to the side. You're just going to, move a couple of rows back. There you go. So you're going to sit back there because we're not talking to you, right? So because you're kind of doing it and you're asking for it, right? But we're talking about the person that's being loyal, that's always being loyal, that's always making sure that their relationship is their A1 day one. And when that is happening and then that individual comes and crushes them with the news of cheating, it's painful. So they just feel this really awful thing, but they're in the apology stage because the person that's doing it knows that they're being manipulative, knows that they're being a really awful human being, because when you cheat and you decide to tell the other person, you're really just unloading that burden just to free your own guilty conscience. And that's only for the people that are in essence, human of sorts, not so cold-hearted, where they say, okay, I need to be able to get this off my chest, and I promise that I'm doing this for their better good. But half the time when that person says that I'm getting it off my chest and they tell what they're doing, it's kind of selfish. You got a big ego. It's all about your ego. You're really just feeding your ego because you feel like crap because of the actions that you did and something that you chose to go out there and do. So you're really just an ass. And so you're just, trying to clear your conscience. So you go burden and dump your clearing. You actually go and rinse your soul on the person that you so-called love. So not only did you cheat, then you had the audacity to take this other nasty thing, which is the revealing of the cheating, and dump them on that too. So there's the actions of what you did, and then there's also this awful thing. You could have told your damn therapist, you could have told the pastor, counselor, friends, hoes that you was out there cheating with, or boys that you was out there hanging with, women that you were out there hanging. Well, you could have, as a lot of people, you could have told them that other person that you're with that you did this awful thing to. So now you're telling them what you did on top of the fact that you did it. And then you're going to go right behind that with, I'm sorry. What? No. And some people handle it with a calm reaction. Some people handle it with get really, maybe emotional and wordy reaction. And some people are going to knock the FK out of you. So then when that happens and you've got hot grits in your face, you have drama going on, and it's going to take even more to get past I'm sorry. But the jewel was dropped and the nugget was given to us in a phenomenal interview by a person that has done it enough times. And I'm thinking from what we have seen happen after that we may be able to take this advice. And I think it might be just worth billions of dollars. It's $1 billion in the elevator on this one, right? So I think it's worth it. So because it's full of, everything surrounding not just the advice, but just the story that comes with the advice, and actually what that person said to the person that was interviewing them, and then what they've actually done. And we've heard from that person's spouse, and we've seen that reaction, and we actually now can see from what that person said and the way that the person is reacting. I think it does work. It's like foolproof right now, right? So because of that, it's safe to share it with you guys. Now, if it doesn't get safe, then I'm going to have to come back and retract some things. But right now, I think it's safe to share this advice with you, right? So, Keisha's over there. Thanks, Keisha. So Keisha's in Texas, Central Texas, and she says, so the confession, can it be good or bad? Can the confession be good? And she says, so can the confession be good and bad? The confession is good, but it's selfish. Yes, you want that. You want the revelation of what happened so that the facade is unveiled. And I talked to you guys about that in one of the books. So you do want the facade to be unveiled. You do want to know that it's all out in the open. But I don't want women to think, or I don't want men to think that when that person revealed to them what they were doing, don't be foolish enough to go in and make them God again because they confessed it to you. Because in all essence, when you find out about cheating, this is a horrible way to term this. The best way, and there's no best in this, but the better way to find out about cheating is by it being revealed to you, or, this is something that you use your intuition, your inner gut, and then you find out. Or if the person ends up telling you, yes, that is good that they told you, but it's better that you sensed it, right? Do you guys get where I'm coming from? Like, it's better that your inner guts, the intuition started talking to you, and you're like, you know what? Okay, I think this is what's going on. And then you confront them and the conversation happens, and then they tell you what happened, and then you go from there. And then later on, you can look back and say, okay, that wasn't really selfish, because I was able to feel that this was going on, and I confronted the individual about this going on, and this is where we got to from there. But when the person just comes and they've been wrestling with this and they can't sleep at night, and they're just going crazy, and instead of going to a counselor or anybody else that they trust, they decide to come tell you. And when they come tell you is important also. So don't let me jump ahead. And if you think that that's something that you want me, if I say something that you want me to expand on, then you guys also give me some feedback, and I will shoot the questions on the social media, wherever, and I will make sure that I expand. So, but when they confess, they should talk to a counselor or a friend, or someone else, not the friend circle, but they need to kind of get that really, really heavy dark part off of them, tell somebody, and then they need to kind of work through it, and decide how to go about telling you, to make sure that when they come to you, it's not about feeding their own ego and just lifting some burden off of themselves. Because when they just come to you and be like, you know what, I cheated, I'm just gonna get on out there and just say I cheated. What? Oh, what? We were watching TV, and then we were actually watching the Home Network. Like they were decorating houses. How did that have to do with anything? That's not a confession. But when they come and drop it on you, and then they're like, sit back, feeling better about that. No, you're not going to relieve your hell on me. You know what I mean? So for a person to come and try to, just lay it on you without even any consideration for the timing, when you tell somebody that you've cheated on them, it really should be done in a counseling session, with probably a police officer. Like, you have to know your man, or you have to know your woman, but no, it really should be done with a third party kind of intervening. Because when you just go and you just dump it, and it's so selfish, and then there's like crying and a lot of pain that's going to come with that, but you're feeling better, and then the person just continues to go on, and they just start digging at you. One day it's going to be, they're going to feel this way. It's just like having a car accident. You just get slammed, and then you feel like, oh, I'm okay, and you walk around and do everything, and at the end of the day, you end up falling asleep, and you wake up and you feel like hell, and then it all comes back to you, and then your body's hurting and everything. That cheating is a lot like that, right? For those of us that have experienced it, it's a lot like that. So you wake up the next day and you're like, wait, what the hell did you just tell me yesterday? And then you probably are going to go back at it, and it's just going to, guys are just going to be going back and forth, back at it. But there's a solution. So that's what I'm about to tell you about in this podcast. There is a solution, but to answer that, it could be good or it could be bad, but I would say that should the person confess? Yes, they should confess, but they need to take real consideration. First, they have to sit back, and I heard a therapist say this once, evaluate why you want to tell them. Because if you're deciding to tell the person that you cheated so that you can get it off of your chest, you need to do that in that kind of way. Like, you need to be honest in your delivery. Don't say, I cheated and I just wanted you to know, when the truth is, I cheated. You're saying I cheated and I just wanted to get this off of my chest because it's dark and it's heavy, and I've been carrying the secret around, and it happened 10 years ago. It happened 5 years ago. I've been carrying the secret around, and I just didn't know how to do this, and bam, I'm just going to throw it on you. Like, you need to be real honest with the person. Like, really, this is selfish of me, and I know that what I did was wrong, and this is even worse of me to have to be the one telling you, but here's what I did. I cheated, and then comes this answer that I'm going to give you guys right now. Just a couple more seconds, and I'm going to tell you. Then comes that. And then comes that, and you have to do it this way, And it's important that you guys do it. You can't just go dumping your dirt to relieve your soul, especially if you have no intention of walking through every step of healing that comes with the person hearing what you did. So if the person has not cheated and they have been loyal and they have been a good person, they are going to be just blown away by your actions. They're blown away and they're going through an emotional turmoil. So because they're going through all of this emotional turmoil, you are going to have to take your time with them. And I want to tell you that they're going to get over it in 6 months, but that is a complete lie. And I want to tell you that 2 years from now that you no longer have to visit this topic, and that is going to be a lie about you guys as well, because you are going to revisit this over and over again, and you need to walk through the steps and not take it personal and not come at the person and blame them for bringing it up again, because then your ego, then we're talking about your ego. What is the whole reason why that person had to find out in the first place? If you did not want the person to ever bring it up again so you don't have to feel some type of way, keep your secret to yourself. But if you decide that it's really hard, because the majority of people that are really authentic, good people, Karma is always going to show up with her best friend Dharma and make sure that you find out what happened, because things are going to begin to happen to the person that did this action to you, because they're going to start receiving that karma and that Dharma in their life, right? And once they start receiving that karma, I'm telling you, like, you are going to begin to know what happened anyway. So if you trust life enough, ladies, you don't have to search his phone. If you trust life enough, you don't have to go searching in his email. You don't have to play tricks. You don't have to pretend to be somebody. You don't have to have your friend call on the 3-way. Men, you don't have to have your boy follow her. You don't have to have your boy come on to her to see if she'll fall for it. You don't have to do any of these tricks, because if you trust the law of attraction, and if you trust the way that life will always bring things to you, then trust and believe me, these things are going to come to you anyway, without any of your research. And I'm just telling you that because the research is very stressful. So there's no need. When you're in tune with who you are and you're in tune with what your relationship is, you are going to know the moment when that person steps out. You can deny it, you can ignore it, but your gut's going to tell you, and you can do whatever you decide to do with that gut. But if your life is not balanced, and if you're all over the place, and if you're searching and you're, sneaking in phones and opening emails, if you start doing all that, that's not your gut. That's your paranoia. And that's a whole different issue. I have a couple of friends that are certified therapists. We could send you over to them for that, right? But that's something else going on. But when you're just totally balanced, living your best life on top of that, and all of a sudden you get this, news about what this person has done to you, and it just came to you and you didn't have to do anything, then that's trust the positive energy that you are surrounded with is taking care of you, and you're going to be okay, because you didn't have to do anything. It just came to you and it sat just right in your lap. It's going to feel like hell. Not going to take that away from you, especially if you love the person to the fullest, but you are going to get past this, and this is actually life taking care of you that way. But let's stop and listen. I'm about to tell you guys exactly. I'm going to read from another chat message that Keisha put up, and I'm about to tell you that there is a moment past I'm sorry, and it's not all of the typical things that you tend to hear. This person dropped a simple jewel, a simple nugget in an interview. I'm going to tell you about this person in the interview, what they said. I'm going to tell you about their actions, and I'm going to tell you about how their spouse is responding as well. So Keisha says, I agree that the cheater putting it all on the table. That the cheater's putting it all on the table. If they put it all on the table, to be prepared to have that hard conversation and ask yourself if you want to continue in the relationship or you want to terminate it. I do agree that they should figure out the appropriate way to reveal their truth and consider the other party's emotions, and a mediator may be necessary. I agree. In my experience, we will always need mediation. I mean, you have to know self. That's good too. If you know you are about to put that frying pan and it's going to be an iron skillet upside your head, if you tell me something out of line that you've done after all the hell that I've been through with you, if you know that's your reaction, hot water and hot grease and hot grits and all those things are your reaction, please seek a mediator in a matter of fact, I suggest that if he comes to you and says, I need to talk to you about something, tell him to meet you in the police department parking lot. And then if he say, I just gonna tell you that I want to cook some soup while we here, hey, okay, I was just trying to protect myself because I didn't know what you were gonna come at me with, but like, if he needs to tell you something and you know that if you think that it's cheating and you're about to cut up and be on Snapped, I highly suggest that you meet in the police department parking lot and try to work those things out, in the best way that you can with the best public safe scene that I can think of at that point, right? Like you know your reaction, so you have to be careful. And then Keisha also says, I do agree that they should figure out the proper way to reveal their truth and consider the other party's emotions, that the mediator is necessary. In my experience, we'll need mediation. Mediation can help come to a consensus or a solution. My husband confessed because he wanted to start fresh, because he wanted to renew his relationship with God. I feel he's being selfish. It's usually a selfish reaction for with the confession. There's always an agenda attached to the confession, and the person needs to come within themselves and decide, why are you confessing this to me? Right? Like, if somebody cheats, it's just going to be revealed to the person by the side chick, or just, it just ends up the community, somebody tells. But when you come to me, why did you come to me? And why did you need to cleanse your soul through me? Like, that's between you and God. May he keep you alive, right? I feel he was being selfish because he only confessed because he wanted a clean slate with God. It was not to be fair to me or a true apology to me. Thanks for this revelation. You're welcome, Keisha. And now let me tell you something about that after the apology, because that's good. That's good. That led us exactly to where we want to be on that, because I agree with you. If a person comes to you and they're confessing and they say, well, I needed to get right with God. Like what? Like you wanted to get right with God. You could have just took it out the Catholic way. Don't they sit in a little booth and confess to the priest and all that? Like that there, you had that at the pulpit, like you had all kind of places to go than to go dump your junk on me. And now my life is all going crazy, right? So because men tend to do us that way all the time, I can't tell you how many times that I've been done that way. But if the guy wants to come to you and dump his junk, and think, I even had one guy kind of smiling through the process, like, hey, you see those pictures of me in Miami this weekend? No, I really didn't. I was busy. I didn't have a chance to go take a look at it. What happened? And you're not on my Facebook, and I'm not on your Facebook, so I don't know. We'll go take a look. And then when I went to take a look, he was with a chick. And I'm like, is this some kind of joke? And he's like, ha, 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 ha. No, I was in Miami, and I was with a chick, and yeah, we kicking it now. Oh, okay. I'm about to kill you, so I'm walking away. Like, it was just one of those moments, like, you seriously just showed this to me without any remorse? And honestly, he didn't. Now, even though he suffers, like, from a TBI, he had no emotion attached to what he was telling me, but there was literally like no remorse. So yes, there's the sense of trying to understand his medical condition, and the TBI, not like it. I just watched one of the guys from John's unit, and he was talking about just kind of the brain injury and just kind of being like in a childlike mind. And that's kind of like how I felt that confession was, so it ended us, of course, but it was like, is he serious? Like he kind of thinks it's like a sense of humor, comedy show happening in this moment while he's telling me what he did. It's nothing funny right now, so that happened. So, but, Keisha said exactly, confess to God or prepay to pastor. You know what I mean? Like, come on. So, but here's the deal, you guys. There's solution. So I'm gonna tell you. I was watching an interview about 2 weeks ago, and Van Jones is interviewing the ultimate cheater. Now I know a lot of people say, "Oh man, that he did, that wasn't nothing." That's because the majority of the public thinks that the only thing that Jay-Z did was cheated with this Becky chick, right? And you better call Becky with the good hair. And Beyonce made an album, and you guys thought it was over. No. Like, I need you to listen. Go and watch this entire interview that Jay-Z did with Van Jones. I also need you to listen to just like numerous things that happened. Beyonce also did like a little documentary that came out when she did her documentary. The movie what was it, Lemonade? Not the album, but the movie that came out. Remember we all watched that? So when she released that, she talks about what he did in there. But in depth even more, this year we actually are finding out the number. I am. And I was listening on my flight from Colorado. I was listening to the 444 album, and he really says some things in there. So let's just talk about this ultimate level of cheating that many of us cannot identify with. And I'm not saying it because they're celebrities. That is not what I'm saying at all. Jay-Z revealed this to us on an everyday level of what him and Beyonce shared with us when it comes to this. This is the part that many of you do not know. Beyonce and Jay-Z did not just get over Becky with the good hair. I wanted to stop at Becky with the good hair. And then we could think of maybe a couple more incidents when he cheated, and then we could be like, oh, okay, and they got past that. No. Let me break this down to you, and then we're going to start talking about what happens after I'm sorry. Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce 31 times. I will repeat that for my listeners that may not have heard me sitting way in the back. Like, Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce 31 times. Yes, the Jay-Z that you just saw holding hands and happily swinging through the streets with Beyonce on their latest date to God knows where else fabulous they've been at. 31 times. Now, I know that the first thing that you guys want to say, well, I mean, yeah, he got all that money, so yeah, she gonna forgive. No, not this one. See, this, we can't use that one. That's for us broke folk. That's the one we use with broke folk. Yeah, he got all that money, so that's why she forgave him. Or sometimes with the broke folks, we'd be like, well, he good looking, and that's why she wanted him back because he was cute. That's broke folk thinking. This is a woman that was already beautiful. This is a woman that can have pretty much, probably even your husband. This woman can have any man in the world. You know what I mean? So this woman can have anyone. And guess what else she didn't need? She didn't need Jay-Z's paycheck. She could have taken him walking out on their marriage. She could have taken that infidelity and took him all the way to the bank. And she could have been the one sitting at the table with the NFL this past weekend. Okay? That's what she was capable of. So Beyonce was cheated on 31 times by Jay-Z. Now, if you listen to the 444 album, you're going to get some behind his thoughts. And it's kind of powerful because even though he's talking about his relationship with Beyonce, you can think of other couples and everybody else that's been through the cheating, and all of us that have had our stories and experienced it. And then you're like, oh man, because he said, in his apology, I'm sorry for taking the innocence. I was there for, that part where he says in the album where I saw the innocence leave your eyes. Ouch. Like, you were the hell that came into her life. Remember Beyonce? I don't know. I'm in touch with a lot of underground music world, right? So I tend to be a part of things that other people may, I don't know. I haven't seen that part. But I was at a show in San Antonio. We were promoting a show through Hip Hop Mecca for Smakola. And I think it was through Hip Hop Mecca and Smakola. And they were going to open up for this show outside of San Antonio, Texas, and Destiny's Child was coming. And when Destiny's Child came, a bunch of people were trying to, even some of the celebrities were trying to talk to them, and Daddy Knows was not having it. Daddy Knows was like, they need to have their own green room because I don't want Beyonce to talk to. They need to have their own space. I don't want no men. I don't want anybody to come around. So the fact that, he was just really strict with Destiny's Child and Beyonce. So the fact that somebody was able to get through that major wall, like the Great Wall of China, to try to get to his daughter. And, I could just imagine that, that all of that was the time when Beyonce was super innocent and just a little girl having fun. And then she became this woman that's now with this man who's worldly as can be. Grew up in Marcy Projects where bullets were all across the playground. And remember that he talked about his life with in the Oprah interview, and getting shot at and going back outside to play again 5 minutes later, and getting shot at again and going back outside to play. Like, that was a part of his life growing up. And he sold drugs, and he grew up where his he lost his parents, they were no longer together, and then his mom was gay, and we know everything that he went through with the labels and the dirty part of the music and all that, and then she gets this guy who's lived life, and then she has this innocence. So for him to go back and acknowledge in his apology and say, I'm sorry for that moment that I saw the innocence leave your eyes. So he's been at it. And then he kind of had to have been to get 31 in. Did he do 31 in 1 year? You're just curious about when it all started. But he says on the album, takes the curiosity away and says, I started this. I was doing this girl wrong from the moment I got with her. From the moment I got with her, I was no good. And it was about selfishness and just a whole host of other things. And I won't give you the whole Van Jones interview. It's what he said that I want you guys to hear. It's the nugget. It's the jewel. Jay-Z says, this happens after the apology. Jay-Z says this: the reason why they're walking in this era of forgiveness where Beyonce has forgiven him is because of his actions. It has nothing to do with Beyonce's willingness to be a kind person and forgive the ass that is a man that cheats on you 31 times. That's not that. It's because of this, something that he had to do that he was solely responsible for, and every cheater is responsible for this as well. This is the answer. And this will this will change how your situation is, even no matter when it happened to you. We all go through it. It happens at various times in the relationships. This is what you will know, that you can look back on and decide whether or not you should have stayed, or if you should have, Keisha just used the term here, terminated it. So she says, whether or not you should have, she said confess to a priest or pastor, that part. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Yes, thanks, Keisha. But that part, I'm looking back in your comment where you says whether the person should have stayed or whether they should have terminated it, right? So, like when you got your confession, you said, and you're thinking about yourself, like, should have stayed or should have terminated this? Here's going to be your answer. Jay-Z says, after the apology, that you can't stop at the apology. He said the apology is not even an apology unless the behavior changes. All of it. The disrespect, the lack of even being remorseful, the lack of compassion with understanding how you now feel about them. Everything about who you may have been before you cheated, you cannot be anything similar to that after you cheat. So the only way that you can get to the road of forgiveness after I'm sorry is the behavior of the cheater has to change 155%. It has to change 155%. If the behavior does not change, then that person is still the same dirty dang on chick or dog, chick or man like that they were before. They're still going to be that same person, and they're not going to be anything different. They're just maybe going to have a facade about themselves. They may be able to put on the representative. That's it. But they're still going to be that no good person that's probably trying to reach the number of 31 and they probably want to be 32 so they could be better than Jay-Z, right? Better is in quotation marks. So that's it. Isn't that simple? Isn't that simple? Isn't that a simple answer? So now you look back on your situation, and I'm just going to look back on my own situations and say, you know what? The guys that happened to me, did their behavior change? How did the relationship end up after? How did the relationship flow after? Did their behavior change? Like everything, if they were the type of person that I don't like nobody touching my phone, guess what? Jay-Z says, when you cheat and then you say, I apologize, please stay, and that person takes the time of their precious time of their life and give you another chance, all of your behaviors that you had before are to be no more. You don't get to say, I don't like nobody in my phone. Not when you've been a cheater. Really? No, you don't get to say that anymore because you've been a cheater, so you don't hide anything. You don't hide passwords. You don't hide anything in your phone. You don't act a fool when they touch your phone. You don't have any of the behaviors of before. Every time you make a move, that person knows where you are. When Beyonce is in Syria, wherever she could be performing at, and Jay-Z's on the stage in Miami, they both will know where each other are. Because he says that it is after, we've got about 6 more minutes, you guys. He says it is after that, after the apology, he says that the behavior has to change. And if the behavior changes, that's how you get on the road to forgiveness. Because without that, you're just going to be going around in a circle, revisiting that situation. And thanks, Keisha, for tuning in. I appreciate your input. That was some good stuff that you shared also. But like, it's not going to be any different without the changing of the behavior. So he said that's the secret. That's the life hack. So he gave you a life secret right there. He says after the person says, I apologize, they have to change their behavior. If they don't and they continue to do the same thing, then they don't mean it. In all essence, that's it. They just don't mean it. And that's when the person has to make the decision for themselves. Is this for me? Is this for me? Is this something that I should continue on with? Because that individual has not changed. And that's when the decisions have to, come about. And they have to start making some pretty serious decisions about the relationship. Thank you, Keisha. So Keisha says that's an aha moment. That's good. That's good. Those are reactions that I want when I get those, because it really was for me. It was an aha moment. I was like, oh boy, so I want you guys to go take a look at that. Van is one of the most phenomenal individuals in the world. You guys know Van Jones from CNN, and he was really, really close to one of our favorite people, to Prince. And Prince used to give him a lot of advice. So being the best friend of Prince, and he learned a lot of things. And so he brings a lot to his show as well. So that exclusive interview with Jay-Z, you're going to get a lot from it. I quote Jay-Z in my books a lot. I've always been a person that likes to follow the speaker Jay-Z, the entrepreneur Jay-Z, the business mogul Jay-Z, the social justice and, fighter of equal rights Jay-Z. And then I like his music, so his music kind of is a back burner to me, because I like to follow this man as a mentor in a sense. In my head, to the way that he carries himself and the nuggets that he drops. He may not say a lot, but when you can get him and he does say something, it's powerful. It's always power packed, so I always get a lot. But I thought, oh my God, thanks, honey. So honey says, great show, Queen. Thanks, Nero. Appreciate that. And literally, you have to think about that for each situation. She cheated on you. He cheated on you. You are trying to figure out what happens after I'm sorry. That is the most gifted thing that Jay-Z could have given us since his most recent gift of merging with the NFL to take over the music. So I like that. We talked about that the last show. This man has made a merger with the NFL, and he is now the liaison and spokesperson for the music for the NFL, as well as the spokesperson for any social injustice that takes place. And he is the social justice advocate for the NFL. Who better to assign that to than Jay-Z, right? So that's already a power move. But back at home in his relationship, cheated 31 times and walking around with a lady that is smiling at just living her best life, not because of his money. Not because of his money, because she's got equal amounts almost, So she doesn't need his money, and there's nothing else about it, but she's happy because he didn't just say, I'm sorry. He made a major move and changed everything. He even sent people home. He talks about that on the 444. He sent people home in his circle. He sent people back to where they came from. Apparently, he sent people home, and maybe that's just what happened. That person, I'm thinking, was no good. and bringing woman after woman behind stage and at the events and on tours and throwing them on the bus, and I don't know, but that person got removed from the camp. So he was serious about his marriage. There's a point when he talks about even apologizing for being gone and out there cutting up when she was having her miscarriage, because you remember there was a miscarriage. If you watch the documentary, you remember Beyonce showing us the footage of going back and forth to the doctor and everything after the miscarriage. And so there was a miscarriage that happened, and who knew when she was going through that? She didn't reveal to us what he was doing. He tells us what he was doing. And that, like, during those, see, think of all those times when she had the miscarriage, going through when she had Blue, when she left Destiny's Child, when she was in Destiny's Child, anything, all the movies that she was doing and everything, from Dreamgirls to Austin Powers, to all of that was a time when her man that she would come home to was out there stepping out on her over and over again, because Jay-Z admits he was doing that since the beginning of the relationship. Wow. So thanks, Keisha. She's an awesome show, and I will check out that Jay-Z interview. Thanks, you guys. I'm going to put that up on Facebook. I'm also going to put the link to that interview with Van Jones up on Twitter. It's a good one. You have to watch it. That's a major nugget. He said change the behavior. He said some other stuff in there. You're going to want to hear that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to the Ask Diva show. Thank you for tuning in for whatever platform, from one listener, trying to change the lives of one listener, one reader at a time. Thank you for helping make that mission happen. Go over, follow the page on Facebook, hashtag AskDiva, AskDeeva. Follow me on social media, MZDeeva, the number 4, and YOU.